How is Brandon Staley still employed? Please, someone explain to me why Brandon Staley is still the head coach for the Chargers. It doesn't make any sense. It's horrible. Just fire him already. Get rid of him. You look at Justin Herbert, he's a lone reason why Brandon Staley is still there. If Justin Herbert wasn't quarterback of the Chargers, if he wasn't their quarterback, Brandon Staley would have been gone a year ago. He would have been gone last year. And one of the biggest reasons why Staley needs to be gone is just, the lack of execution, the lack of accountability, the lack of discipline, which, goes hand in hand with accountability. And then you have, he's supposed to be a defensive-minded head coach, but the Chargers' defense has been horrible. Their passing defense, one of the worst in the league. Their run defense has been better this year, but not last week. It hasn't, a game that you should absolutely win, regardless of their record. I understand that the Chargers, they didn't have a great record. They didn't have a good, and they don't have one now. I understand that. But the Chargers are good. You have such a good football, not team, quarterback. You have such a good quarterback. Top 5, one of the best in the NFL. And he can. And Brandon Staley can't do anything with it. They couldn't build anything around him. And like I said, Staley, defensive-minded guy, yet the defense is one of the worst in the league. Chargers never fired head coaches during the season. Yeah, they probably won't. But Justin Herbert is going through the same crap that Phillip Rivers went through. And I think I talked about this in the past on a live. Went through the same freaking crap that he went through. And it's a unstable organization, crappy head coaches. They never actually build a football team around the quarterback. They just say, hey, take him for granted. He's going to get it all done. And now it's even more difficult to do anything because his rookie contract is wasted. Now he's going to be being paid $55 million a year. I don't remember exactly how much he's being paid per year, but it's a lot. $55 million. I would say it probably is $55 million. I think he is the highest paid right now. And rightfully so, he has dragged this Chargers team to mediocrity over the past 3 years. And it's not going to change unless you put something around him. It's not going to change unless you get him a new head coach. Brandon Staley sucks as a head coach. Great defensive coordinator, but he sucks as a head coach. But it's just so disappointing to see the Chargers wasting another great quarterback who will probably go down as an all-time great but have nothing to show for it. And you could kind of blame the quarterback a little bit because he's the leader, he's the catalyst, he's got to be the reason why the team's playing great. But at the same time, Justin Herbert can't go out there and catch the football for Quentin Johnston. He can't go out there and block for himself. He can't coach. He can't play defense. He can play quarterback, which can elevate your team to a much better team than what they would be without him. But the Chargers are taking Herbert for granted big time. It hurts because Herbert is a quarterback that can take you to the promised land. He's a quarterback that can win you a Super Bowl. But when you don't put anything around him, he has Keenan Allen. I thought Josh Palmer or Trey Palmer. I always get the Palmers mixed up with the Buccaneers and the Chargers. But whatever Palmer it is, I think he's a decent receiver. But when you go back and look at this entire team, little mistakes here and there all game long, and you lose to a Packers team that you should never lose to. The Packers have one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. Let's see how the Chargers did. Let's see how the Chargers did running the football versus one of the worst run defenses. Maybe they ran the ball well. I don't remember. Let's see. The Chargers, 150 rushing yards. Okay. 244 passing yards. 394 yards. So they're very similar in that aspect. But they had 50 more rushing yards than the Packers. 50 more. They ran for 150 yards. And you barely gave the ball. Look at this. Austin Eckler, 10 attempts, 64 yards, 6.4 yards per carry. Why not let him run the ball more? Justin Herbert, 8 carries for 73 yards, 9.1 yards per carry. Why don't you continue to run the football? Packers have one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. And you don't run the darn football. Like you should. It's pathetic. And then you have the big drop from Quentin Johnson. I think Quentin Johnson is a bust ready, to be honest with you. I mean, like, if you just watch him play, if you just rewatch the games, he's getting pushed around. It's like he's not even, what is he? He's a big receiver, and he gets pushed around. Let's see. And, coming out of college, he was raw. He didn't run a lot of different routes at TCU. He didn't, let's see. It's not showing here. Quentin Johnston height. He's 6'4", 216 pounds, and he gets pushed around. I just don't know if he has the NFL in him. I don't know. It hasn't seemed like that. It hasn't seemed like that he has it in him.